Hi people, Moinovi, back here again as always under as usual. Yeah, I'll be discussing the saying where there is anger, there is always pain underneath. Or as when I first saw it, where there is anger, there is pain. And it's from allegedly or just outright from a German teacher called, I'm sorry, called Eckhart Tolle. Sorry, just had a Coke and gas. Anyways, yeah, this saying is pretty much self-explanatory, but I'll still go into it or get into it in detail for people that can't really connect the dots, to put it that way. Where there is anger, there is always pain underneath. Simply means that generally speaking, people that are angry and people that generally speaking are in a volatile state of mind or showcase this or for whom this is visible are people that are in pain. I know not from knowledge but also from first-hand experience, and this especially applies to men based on the natural characteristics of men and women. Wait until the end screen if you haven't seen that video yet. It's a recent video I did. In any case, by default, when men are under pressure, they display anger, they display aggression, they display volatility. I know, obviously I'm a man, and I, lifetimes ago, when I had to deal with so much indescribable levels of negativity, to put it that way, so to speak, figuratively speaking, I was also quite angry. If you ask me something, as in, hey Marino, I'd be like, what is it, what do you want? That's pretty much how I would respond, because I had so much negativity, built up negativity, that spiritual negativity inside me, from all the bluntly put shit I had to deal with, that I was just completely and utterly broken. And like I said, I'm a guy obviously, so my my natural response towards being in pain due to tremendous pressure was anger, was disdain. For women, it can be the case as well, but generally speaking, classically, the same thing that it is with men, it's the exact polar opposite, more or less, with women. It's sadness. Women deal with being under tremendous pressure by being sad and just being grief-stricken. Now, there are exceptions, but those apply to, for example, men with feminine traits and women with masculine traits. I'm sorry. Yeah. Again, I repeat, men with feminine traits and women with masculine traits, of course, these are the exceptions and not the norms, or just plain norm. They'll display more. Their response to pressure will be in keeping with more of their personality rather than their gender. So you've got like butchy women, masculine women, not necessarily physically, but in terms of mentality, that will display that. They'll display anger when being under pressure, and with guys that are ultra feminine, they'll display grief-strickenness, they'll display sadness. But again, push them up to breaking point and the natural them will still come out. Okay, it doesn't matter how butch a woman is, cause her enough pain, enough anguish, enough mental anguish, enough agony, and she's going to start crying. Whereas with men, push the most sensitive, most feminine guy up to breaking point, and he will still at some point showcase anger. And yeah, that's pretty much what the saying means. So yeah, you need to be aware of this. Again, I've seen people like these, obviously. For example, I went into a coffee shop maybe like a year ago. That's the last time I saw someone that was broken. And the woman at the cashier, she was just like, she essentially just tried shooing me away. A just a general black girl. And I'm simply saying that for good measure's sake, not that ethnicity obviously or anything like that matters. I'm just saying. And she had a response along the lines of, because I asked her, I said, hey, what's wrong with that machine? And she was like, mister, go ask someone else there. I already saw, I took one look at her and I saw what time it was, and I'm like, okay, I'm dealing with a piece of shit apparently. And by piece of shit, I mean someone that is mentally broken. You could tell that she was in such a horrible state of mind that it morphed her physical appearance. I know, because again, I was once there. And it was like a slush machine, like their slush machine wouldn't work or something like that. Like the handle was broken, and it was like you had to like jimmy it. you had to push it or insert it a certain way to like get slush to come out. And the person I was with helped me when he came inside, my cab driver then. And I was just like I said, I immediately just ignored them. In that situation, specific situation, at that moment, common sense told me that the best thing to do is to just ignore this person rather than what? Go on the offensive and threaten that person with writing them up or talking to their manager, getting them fired, getting them into trouble, blah, blah, blah. No, I was just like, I'm just going to ignore this, It's no different than when you see like a pile of garbage alongside the street and you're just like, oh, okay, I'm just going to ignore this. Like, la-di-da-di-da. Exactly, an offensively bad smelling, wretched smelling pile of garbage. Because, for example, within given context, you know that you are not going to clean up that pile of garbage because it's not your garbage, or it cannot be cleaned under those conditions. So it just sits there and festers. No other choice. So you gotta do so. So again, the best thing to do is to literally just ignore it. That's the way most people cope with negativity. The same way that most people, they ignore the homeless. When a homeless person asks them for money, they just pretend that they didn't see the person. They're like, la, 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 la. No. Only very few people will go like, yeah, listen, I ain't got nothing, buddy. Get out of here, scram. Like that. So yeah, that's what the saying means by default. Where there is anger, there is pain. Someone that is generally speaking in a good state of mind and is calm, cool, and collected will generally speaking not be angry. But someone that is angry, like you ask the person something, what is it, what do you want? That means the person isn't doing well. Okay, the person is stressed, the person is in a horrible mental state of mind and or being, period. Before I go, one other thing I need to bring up is that you need to not confuse this with people that are naturally aggressive. You'll be able to tell the difference. I mean, come on, common sense tells you that an animal can even do so. Someone that is naturally aggressive is someone that will be more coercive in nature, all the while not being broken mentally and whatnot. You can clearly tell the difference between the two, period. That's all. Bye bye.